Hello, Algebra 2 folks, and welcome to Graphing Sine and Cosine Functions. Today we are going to focus on amplitude and period changes within the same graph. Yesterday when we were graphing, you either had an amplitude change or a period change, but not either of them together. So that's what our focus is today, putting those two things together. I have two examples. You need to put both of them in your notes, and we will get started. So the first one is the function f of x equals 3 cosine of pi x. So if you remember, 3 is our a and pi is our b. Amplitude is the absolute value of a, so the absolute value of 3 would be 3. The period is 2 pi divided by b, and so 2 pi divided by b would be 2 pi divided by pi, which would be 2. And remember, the increment is 2 times 1/4, or 2 divided by 4. 2 divided by 4 is 1. Oops, something's going on with my computer. Sorry about that. I got it fixed now, so this would be 1/2. I apologize. Somebody took over my computer. All right, now we're going to graph it. So remember we talked about drawing your x and y axes. So we have our y and our x axes here. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and do the amplitude. And remember, I always do the amplitude in blue. So I'm going to go 3 up, 1, 2, 3, 3 down, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to just draw my amplitude in. That's -3, that's 3. Okay, and remember our midline is halfway between the amplitudes, the high and the low. So this is what we call the midline. Now tomorrow and the next day we're going to have some midline changes, so be prepared for that. All right, so the midline is 0. And now what we can do is we can plot our 5 critical points on either side of our y-axis. So we have a cosine. So if we have a cosine, what does that mean? It means it starts up high. So one of our critical points is here. And then it goes down. Oh, forgot my increments. Got to have your increments before you can do your 5 points. So our increment is by a half. So we'd go a half, 2 halves, 3 halves, and 4 halves. We do -1/2 here, -2 halves here, -3 halves here, and -4 halves here. So now I can go back to sine starts high, and now I can do my 5 critical points. You must label all your increments. So then I'm going to come down to the 1/2, and then I'll go way down below the 2/2, which is 1, come back up to 3 halves, and go way up to the tippy top for 4 halves. Now, I can't go past my amplitude, so I got to remember that I'm going to do some curving here. I don't want to see any V's. I want to see some curves. Okay, then this side is going to go down to the -1/2, down, drop down below the line at -1, back up to the x-axis at -3 halves, and way to the tippy top for -4 halves or -2. And then I'm going to curve it, and then continue to curve it, and then it'll come back down, arrows on both sides. Remember, the domain is all reals, because we're going to get every x value in the world, and the range goes from your high point to your lowest point, and that's between -3 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 3. So it's less than or equal to 3, but greater than or equal to -3. Okay, let's do one more example. This time we're going to do sine. So we have 2 sine of 3x. Remember, this is our amplitude, A, and this is our B for the period. So our amplitude is the absolute value of 2, which is 2. Our period is 2 pi over b, which is 3. And the increment is either 2 pi over 3 divided by 4, or this would be a good time for me to say 1/4 times 2 pi over 3. And then I would get 2 pi over 12, which is 1/6 pi. So my increment is 1/6 pi. Now remember, our domain is all reals, and the range will be your amplitude. So our range is between 2 and -2. So y is less than or equal to 2, but greater than or equal to -2. And then I'm going to get my blue out for my amplitude. And I'm going to go 2 up and 2 down. So this is 2, this is -2. And then don't forget our midline. Our midline is between our amplitude, which in this case is the x-axis again. So the midline is 0. Okay. And now we need to plot our make our increments before we plot our 5 critical points. So we'd have 1/6 pi, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, and 4 pi over 6. Over here we'd have -1 pi over 6, -2 pi over 6, -3 pi over 6, and -4 pi over 6. Now, 2/6 pi is 1/3. This is 1/2. This is 2/3. That's fine if you want to reduce them, but it's not necessary. Okay? Now we're going to look at what we have. We have a sine, and what are the characteristics of sine? Sine always starts at 0, 0. There's one critical point, and on the right we go up to the tippy top. We go back to the x-axis. We go down to the lowest point, back up to the x-axis, and draw our curve. Okay? Then onto the left side, we're going to go down, back up to the tippy top, back to the middle, and continue our curve or our wave. All right? And that is putting different periods and different amplitudes together in a combination. And I'm thankful for you taking good notes, and we will see you tomorrow to practice this some more.